Joanne Mitchell, welcome to Tongue Tied Ride and Tie Interviews. And we are interviewing you today because you really are a giant in our sport, particularly in the ways that you have for years and years and years managed rides and put on rides. And if we don't have ride managers, we don't have rides. And so I want to share first your plaque that you received from the Ride and Tie Association in appreciation for all of your years of service, and we gave it to you in this venue right here at East Fork Stables in Tennessee a month ago, back in March.
We appreciate all the years and all the work you have put in to keep Ride and Tie going, keep this ride going, and Ride and Tie as a whole going for our future generations. And everyone that's still out here running, we appreciate it.
27 years.
So she's done Big South Fork and then Giddy Up, and Giddy Up was originally in a different location, and now Giddy Up is here, and so she's done it all. So I'll read you the plaque. In appreciation of years of dedication, presented to Joanne Mitchell, Ride Manager 1990 to 2024, for outstanding commitment as both a competitor and ride manager, and for years of service to the sport of Ride and Tie. Your leadership, sportsmanship, and passion have left a lasting mark on the Ride and Tie community. Thank you. Actually, there's a kind of a funny story about that, because I knew we were going to do that, and then you told me that you were not coming to the Friday night ride meeting. I said, "Oh, that's fine. Don't worry about it." Not remembering that you were supposed to be there, so I got a little bit of trouble. You did come to the next ride meeting. I made sure you were there because it was a surprise. How much of a surprise was it that you got this?
I was not expecting it at all.
Yeah. Well, that was what the board wanted. But the Ride and Tie Association is so thankful to you for all of that. And then in March, you're just racking up the awards. The Backcountry Horsemen of America gave her the Lifetime Achievement Award for dedication and support to Backcountry Horsemen of America. Light on the land. And if not only do we have to have ride managers, but we have to have trails. And if it weren't for the Backcountry Horsemen of America, we wouldn't have a lot of the trails that we have. And so thank you so much for that. I'll sit right now. So we want to hear your story, and I want to go all the way back. Every superhero has a backstory. And so how did you first get involved in horses or in equines?
My first horse, Mighty Marvin, I got when he was a yearling in 1979, and he was my first horse. I had him for 33 years. I don't trade up. I don't trade down. I just keep them forever. And I did one endurance ride with him, a limited distance, but I was never the runner. My dad ran cross country for Auburn around World War II.
Wow.
And then my brother ran track in high school, but I was never the athlete. I was the skinny kid with basically no talent.
So you start with Marvin and you do a little bit of endurance and whatnot with him. When did you first become aware of Ride and Tie?
First became aware of Ride and Tie reading, I believe, Western Horseman. And that was back in the 80s. And I thought this was kind of cool. But at the time, pretty much the only one east of the Mississippi was in Virginia, and that was a long way. And but through them, I met Lonnie and Kathy, and they have been terrific ambassadors for the sport.
Oh yeah. Both have more than 4,000 competitive miles.
Well,
so
I have, shall we say, less than 50. But you got to start somewhere, and occasionally I would find a runner. One was somebody in my trail club, and the other was my nephew. But family first.
So did you do a Ride and Tie before you hosted your first Ride and Tie or managed your first?
No. My first Ride and Tie was the one I managed in 1999 at Big South Fork when Karen Clark, now Karen Isaacs, was doing the management. And I started with about 6 teams of 50s.
Oh.
Yeah, and I had I read the the rules, and I had a friend who carried the body bags and the first aid kit, and she did fine. Everybody did fine.
So you had 6 50-mile teams in your first Ride and Tie.
Yeah.
Wow, that's something. Wow, that's a story I didn't know about. And that was Big South Fork, which is not far from where we are here. So
same county.
Yep. And so then from there
from there in 2012, I developed the Giddy Up and Run. And the first one we had there was at a place called Baker's Creek. It's a wildlife management area in Monroe County. And it was okay, but there was no overnight camping. So I had to find a place for overnighters who came up from Alabama and wherever. You didn't come from South Carolina. You
No,
had
we didn't.
something
We
to do.
came the next year, but that first year.
Yeah, and then it was sort of a trade-off between Catoosa Ridge Stables, which is now closed, or this place, and then we finally decided on this place.
Okay.
As a home.
Okay. Okay. It's been a great home. We've had one world championship here.
Correct. Yes.
There's your shirt. Yeah. And let's see. The regional championship. You did the first ever regional championship East Coast. That was at Big South Fork
in September.
And that would have been in
2015.
2015. Okay. And this was in 2019. Was that
Here.
That was the first or second ever world championship in the East?
Second.
Second. Okay. Okay.
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right.
Because it's me or either Old Dominion.
Yeah, it's kind of been.
You know.
Yeah. Okay. So thinking back over all these years, tell me a good story or two that comes to mind.
Well, let's see. I think one of the first times you were at Big South Fork, you and your daughter were riding Cruz, and somewhere you lost Cruz on the trail close to camp, and we hunted, we hiked, and Cruz was found. He just had pretty much untied himself.
Yep, he untied himself, went exploring, and an endurance rider found him and ponied him back to camp.
Yes.
So yeah, I won't forget that. That was our second riding tie ever. And I came running into camp. Sarah had gone the other way looking for Cruz, and I came running in. And y'all all were cheering for us because here we come in, and I'm like, no, I'm not finishing the race. I lost my wife's horse. So yeah, what else? Other stories?
And at this venue, I think you had borrowed another white equine. Only this was a mule, and you lost her.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago. That was more recently. Yep. She pulled loose from me and just took off, and she came right back to camp.
There's a difference in the neck structure of a horse and a mule.
Yeah.
Mules have extremely strong necks.
Well, that was it. I had that tie rope, and she just ripped it out of my hand, and she was gone. You won't remember this story, but that's another one from here, from one of yours. But you mentioned Karen Isaacs earlier. I rode her horse Sport, and I had been.
He's good.
Yeah, and it was fairly early in my riding tie career, and fairly early in my riding career. And we were right behind Dave Venable out there early in the race, and I was right behind Dave, and we're just bebopping along, and I'm trying to get used to this horse, and Sport is just begging me to let him go.
He can move out.
And so I finally said, okay, let's see what happened. And he shot around Dave, and we were just gone. And I got back in that night. We were all talking, and I said to Karen, that was so much fun. I mean, he just blew that other horse away. And Karen said, I don't let my horses race other horses. I said, I didn't know. So that would have been a giddy up race a number of years ago, but still, yeah. People that you think of in the ride and die community that you've had a lot of contact with.
Obviously Janice and Bob Helterbridle, you. My donkey's farrier is a riding tire now. Gosh, I have met so many wonderful people from all over, and they come from all over.
Yeah. So you did something really cool several years ago. You started, added a separate sport to the ride and die and the equithon here at Giddy Up. Tell us a little bit about that.
The Giddy Up and Run pack burro race is the one that I initiated 6 years ago. I retired this year, but for family issues. But anyway, pack burro racing is similar to kind of ride and tie, except all you do is lead the burro. And I've had people come down from Michigan, and it's the only sport that I can make money in with equines. Let's see, last year I rented out my burros, Chocolate and Chip, to a mother and daughter from Pennsylvania. And this year I rented them out to a father and daughter from New Hampshire. Because I'm the only one east of the Mississippi.
Yeah. That's just so cool.
And all they have to do is lead.
Yep. And so we are here now at the Spin Around the Rim, which is a month after Giddy Up this year. You didn't manage it this year, you had already retired, but a couple of the mule folk have come back to spin to do equithon. So we're now getting some crossover, which is kind of cool too. Well, tell me about changes you've seen over the years. You started Riding Tie managing in 1990, 99.
99.
And so what have you seen in the last 27 years?
Technology, oh my gosh. You know, we used to use the VMAX heart monitor, you know, and I think they still make them.
Yeah.
But, you know, everything has changed. I mean, you've got all kinds of monitors and the GPS you have on your phone. You know, we had paper maps, and you had to go from point A to this intersection, follow the ribbons. Now, the ribbons haven't changed much, which is good. You know, that has stayed the same, which is a good thing.
Just almost since I have come into riding, I guess they were already out, but not as prevalent. You didn't have as good as signals. And so if you got lost, you just had to figure it out. And now you can usually call your partner and figure it out that way. It's a little easier. It almost feels unsportsmanlike because when you're out there and you have to guess, did he miss this turn or not, or did I miss a turn? And you've got to figure out, might they be behind me, or maybe they're in front of me, or whatever. That's something else. When you just call and say, where are you? But it's
well,
still
you
nice.
know, like down on the O&W, there used to be no signal.
Right.
No signal.
Yeah.
And now, you know, it's just like, okay, I'm 3/10 of a mile from the intersection.
Yeah. Okay, good. Well, if you had something to say to the wider riding tie community, and I hope you do, what would you say? Look right in the camera and tell us.
It's not as difficult as you think it is. Everybody knows a runner, be it at school, at church, at the grocery store. You know, pick a city park, and you see these guys that are 6'4" with legs, you know, that, you know, and yeah, you can adjust your stirrups. You know, we've got, you know, we started with Long, you know, Melinda Long and Lori Little, and she's 6 foot, and she's a whole lot less than 6 foot, and they did the stirrup thing adjustment, so it's not that difficult. You can do this. You can, and they start with, you know, 4 miles. Yeah, big deal. You know, and then, yeah, they do go up to 100, but that, you know, I've never gotten 100s.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. And then I would just say for you, because you've done this, you foster such a great community in the riding tie. I'm so thankful that you're a part of my wider community, not just riding tie, but my wider community, my wider family, and that's but that is due to folks like you that are willing to put the time in to and it takes a lot of time and effort to manage. So thank you, congratulations on a well-deserved award.
Okay, thank you very much.